Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today for Venture Houston 2023, hosted by HX Venture Fund.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Elise Hobson. You've probably received one or two emails coming your way from me, but I am here to introduce one of our last panels of the day around the broad industry perspective of decarbonization, and we are going to have a fantastic panel for you today. Just a friendly reminder before I make my introductions, if you have any questions for our panel, please upload the VFairs app, navigate towards the agenda portion, and select Q&A for this panel, which is Path to Net Zero, Industry Perspectives on Decarbonization. It's my pleasure to welcome our moderator for today, Juliana Garaizar, the Chief Development and Investment Officer and Head of Greentown Labs Houston. For those of you who might not know who Greentown Labs is, it's the largest climate tech startup incubator in North America. And we are so proud to say that from Somerville to Houston, Greentown has decided to make this ecosystem their second home. Juliana is also the lead investor of the Portfolio Rising America Fund that invests in BIPOC and LGBTQ founders, as well as the Portfolio Consumer and Rising Tide Funds, as well as an advisory board member of the University of Houston Cougar Fund, the Houston Diversity Fund, the Investors of Color Network, and Impulse for Women. Thank you, Juliana. Next, we have Peter Barrett, who is the co-founder and managing partner at Playground Global, an early-stage venture capital firm based out of Palo Alto, really focusing on revolutionary spaces like quantum and optical computing, robotics, and artificial intelligence, among several other verticals. Peter really believes that the computing revolution and arguably even the industrial revolution hasn't even happened yet and is drawn to the toughest challenges and boundaries of deep tech and hard space. He's actually an entrepreneur himself and has been writing software since he was a teenager. He's had a super adventurous career in technology, from creating the first widely used video codec in the early 90s to cloud intelligence for automotive at CloudCar, and now quantum, optical computing, robotics, and artificial intelligence at Playground. Next, we have Elizabeth Lutz, who is the VP of Sustainability at Camden Property Trust. So anybody who's familiar with Camden Apartments, they're one of the largest publicly traded multifamily companies in the United States. And Elizabeth has held several roles within Camden over the past 12 years and currently manages their sustainability program to determine the projects and initiatives that provide the greatest return for Camden, as well as overseeing their sustainability and ESG reporting. And she's also a Rice Owl grad, so coming back to home today. Last, we have Reece Pacheco, who is based in Boston and a partner at Propeller VC, where he focuses on investing and supporting ocean entrepreneurs at the earliest stage of their ventures. He's also been an active angel investor at the Ocean Climate Nexus, where he leveraged his professional experience as a startup veteran and ocean conservation leader, and is a very active waterman. So please join me in welcoming this fantastic panel, who I know is going to give us a great conversation around land, sea, and air for decarbonization.
Thank you, Elise, for having us here. And I was checking with the panelists on the green room how the day has been so far, and Peter, he was telling me, these panels have been too polite, so we need to spice things up, It's after the break, it's just before cocktails, so let's bring a little bit of controversy. We also have a concurring panel that is we have 3 Greentown members there in the panel competing. I know they're gonna do a great job, so we wanna make sure that, we are a little bit less polite here. So, and I'm always happy to do that and be a contrarian. So with that, I think it's important for the audience here to know why you're doing what you do. I think, we read your bios here, but why are you in this space? What made you, move into this space? And then let's get with the controversy, let's talk, Reece, you've been in the West Coast, moving to the East Coast. Why? what about Silicon Valley, Peter, and Elizabeth, tell us, why we should root for the middle of the country. So Reece, why don't you start with the why and tell us a little bit more about why you moved from one coast to the other.
Oh, wait, you want why from one coast to another, not why?
Why you started first and then?
Yeah, so Propeller, Ocean Climate Venture Fund, for me, just kind of first principles thinking, the ocean is too critical to solving the climate crisis, and so we needed more early stage capital. Historically, a lot of the funding in the ocean sector has been incumbent industry, government, not necessarily the most innovative early stage private forms of capital that can disrupt some of the incumbent industries or help them transition. So that was like just glaring at me from my seat in my career, and I felt like there was an opportunity to build a fund in the space, and luckily met some partners who agreed, and we all built Propeller together. So we're a first-time fund, $117 million, investing pre-seed, seed, check size is $500K to $1 million. So for me, it's just the ocean is my reason for being. It's my reason for getting up in the morning to go surfing, to go get out there, but it's also the greatest way we can potentially address the climate crisis. So that's my why for the ocean. My why for moving and leaving the wonderful California coastline and its beautiful waves and frequent swells behind to go back to the East Coast is mostly family. Gravitational pull of family in the Northeast, and then all my partners were there. So
okay, so there's no controversy there.
There's no real the controversy is just that I'm not as active as a waterman as Elise makes me out to be anymore. I don't surf as much as I used to.
Okay.
Sadly.
Elizabeth, tell us your why.
Why I'm in sustainability. I started at Camden 12 and a half years ago. Camden is a multifamily REIT. We're across the Sun Belt. And I started in our reporting group, our SEC reporting group. And during my interview process for this role, which I started in this role in November of last year, I talked about how I feel like I've been interviewing for this job my whole time at Camden because I've kind of moved in a bunch of different departments. Started in SEC reporting, moved to asset management and ran our renovation program, worked on our property management software with our third party that we work with there, and then back to accounting to run our accounts payable group. And I was heavily involved in our utility data gathering for those of you out here who are having to do any kind of reporting on ESG or sustainability. You know what I'm talking about. And so all of that I was involved with and sort of led into this role. In terms of passion, several years ago, I decided I wanted to have a paperless kitchen. And so I've been working toward that. I have 2 little kids, so I don't have a completely paperless kitchen yet with paper towels and messes, but we're working toward it. So it's progress.
Very cool. Peter, tell us your why.
So Playground is a Silicon Valley venture firm that was started by a number of engineers who were sort of frustrated that Silicon Valley was sort of stuck in abstractions, right? So Mark's right about software eating the world, but you can't eat software, right? At some point, you have to live in the physical world. You have to build systems that allow you to eat, to operate, to automate. And when you think about the AI revolution, AIs that can't sense and actuate with physical things, that can't understand their environment that they're in and do useful work, those are just brains in jars and not much use to anybody. And so Playground was really founded on the basis that we do need to apply software technologies and AI, but we need to ground it in the physical world. And increasingly that means using new classes of computation, new classes of materials to solve the toughest challenges we have in decarbonization. And I think we have some exemplars in the portfolio of what the intersection between materials, chemistry, and computation can actually yield in decarbonization, in biology, in a whole bunch of domains. And you don't get there in the metaverse, right? You don't get there floating without legs in some weird abstraction. You do it by connecting computation and software into the real world.
So do you co-invest with Silicon Valley funds? Where's your deal flow?
We do. We tend to co-invest a lot with the deep tech peers, right, who are often investing in similar categories to us, but because they don't have 45 engineers, often don't always pick the right one.
Okay.
And I think we are the only venture firm that has an electrochemical ammonia plant of our own design in the building. And we have 70,000 square feet, which we share with the companies who are creating the future. And so we get to draft off roadmaps. And much of our deal flow, we proactively go out and find companies who are best in category in hydrogen aviation or in quantum computation, and that we're building roadmaps not only with our internal engineering resources, but taking advantage of the fact we have the best scientists and engineers